Greetings and welcome to Nathan Nile Official. If you've never seen my face in a video before, my name is Nathan Nile and this is my personal channel where I do vlogs, reviews, and anything else that happens to catch my fancy. Today I'm going to make a video about professional wrestling. Now we're talking about wrestling in general, however, because this is what I've had the most exposure to over the course of my life, we are specifically going to be focusing on the WWE. I actually came up with the idea for this video a few months ago, and it's taken me this long to work up the courage to do this, just because wrestling fans are fucking psychotic, and there is a very strong possibility that a couple of things that I say today are going to anger quite a few people. I was born in 1990, and wrestling was already a big mainstream thing, but it's definitely gotten bigger and bigger as time goes by. You see, when I was a kid, you already had guys like Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Roddy Piper, not only famous for what they did in the ring, WrestleMania was a huge thing, but also so much crossover success, being movie stars in Hollywood and stuff. So a lot of pro wrestlers were already household names, even though wrestling might not necessarily have been at the forefront of entertainment. So even though I was introduced to the concept of wrestling from an early age, I didn't personally start watching until the Attitude Era hit. And though there might be some people who disagree about when the Attitude Era officially started, I think many wrestling fans would definitely make the argument that there is a specific moment when the tone definitely took a hard curve.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass!
So yeah, I'm 8 years old in San Antonio, Texas, and I show up one day and half the kids in school have an Austin 316 shirt. And my first thought is like, some sort of music festival up in Austin in March? What's going on here? Even though I will always credit Steve Austin for being the one who turned my head to the world of wrestling, made me actually want to watch, the reason I stuck around was The Rock.
Well, The Rock says before he ever lets that happen, he'll lay the smackdown on your candy ass and 10 others who look just like you.
But also, Undertaker, I was frightened. That man gave me nightmares. I mean, there were times when that entrance music hits, he starts walking out, and I just literally pissed my pants. And Mick Foley is literally the reason why you couldn't tell 8-year-old Nathan that wrestling wasn't real. Growing up in San Antonio, the city, last I checked, the number might have changed, but we're like 77% at least part Hispanic. The middle school that I went to was like 93%. So down here, Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, they're basically gods.
Mysterio! That caught him! Oh my God! Like it, Eddie!
Funny enough, when I was growing up, most of my favorite wrestlers were villains. I mean, I never actually thought of The Rock as a bad guy, but officially, during like the peak of his fame, it was during a heel run. Even though I would never have listed them amongst my favorites at the time, when I look back, the people I have the most memories of are Triple H, Randy Orton, and Edge. Why? Because I hated their fucking guts, and I watched every single match they were in, hoping to see them get their ass kicked. I mean, literally, during that entire run in the early 2000s, I never rooted for Edge, never rooted for Randy Orton, and I only ever rooted for Triple H once, and it's because he was fighting Randy Orton.
Randy Orton thrown from the cage!
So when I was a kid and I first discovered wrestling, I had some parents tell me I wasn't allowed to watch it because it was too violent, and you know what? There was some elements of violence, but when I was with my friends play wrestling in the classroom, we'd fake throw punches and we'd pretend to slam each other around and stuff, as opposed to Power Rangers, which was more than allowed to watch and led to some actual fist fights on the playground. So like many teenagers at the time, I was a huge fan of wrestling. In fact, I'm gonna prove it, because like any teenager who watched wrestling at the time, I had a crush on Lita. and one of my favorite storylines that no one talks about anymore. And if I'm being honest, it might not have been that great of a story, but I was glued to my TV while all this was going on. Lita married Kane, and Kane was in the middle of a feud with Gene Snitsky, and Kane tried to basically decapitate Gene Snitsky with a chair, and Lita stopped him, but then she ends up getting hurt and losing the baby. It's all crazy. But as much as I loved it, I was ashamed of it. Even around other people who loved it, I was ashamed to admit that I loved it. Because they also were down talking it. I mean, it's one of the biggest mindfucks ever that all the biggest fans of wrestling would also shit talk wrestling. And it's something that really got into my head, because even the diehard fans of wrestling, the ones who would actually pay to watch all of the PLEs, would sit there watching this event that you paid money to watch and be like, that's just not real. Anyone could break out of that hole. He threw himself. You know what? You know what's really fake? Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is the most fake shit that's ever been invented. You think they actually genetically engineered real dinosaurs? No, it's all animatronics. They faked the whole thing. There's not a single person who died on that set. The entire movie is fake. At the end of the day, it's not about real or fake or any of this bullshit. What it really comes down to is this is, at its core, entertainment. So the most important thing is...
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I didn't know that back then. I know it now, but at the time, it got it into my head. And eventually I started to hate wrestling. I mean, I never hated it, but I hated being a fan of it. I hated admitting that this was something I enjoyed, because there was so much shame and stigma around it. And so in 2012, I moved into my apartment. It's my first time ever living alone. And I wasn't going out of my way to avoid wrestling. I just never went out of my way to seek it out. I mean, at the time, everything that I loved about wrestling, it was all changing. The Rock, gone. Batista, gone. Edge had announced his retirement. Eddie Guerrero has passed. I mean, Stone Cold, gone. There just wasn't as much reason for me to want to come and witness this. But then 2016 happened, and I learned about Sasha Banks. And I was like, damn, is that what wrestlers look like now? I gotta start paying attention again. Now, I didn't actually start watching it, but I was paying more attention. I would see news articles and I'd click on it and read up real quick. I'd see clips on TV and online. I'd hear people talking and my ears would perk up and I'd listen a little closer. Even though I wasn't watching, I felt like somewhat of an active participant. And the more I listened and the more stories I heard, the more stories I wanted to hear. And I felt myself slowly getting dragged back into the world of wrestling. All these stories I'm hearing, both about things that are happening now, but also things that I missed, it's making me go, I should have been watching. I need to start watching. Because all of these stories are like, what? Because Sting comes back, makes his WWE debut, competes in his first WrestleMania. The Rock came back to compete against John Cena. Goldberg comes back. That jackass reality star that nobody likes is suddenly a Grand Slam champion. How the fuck did that happen?
Will Miz take advantage? Can Miz take advantage? And Miz pins Cena.
And then 2020 happened and I took a little peek. And then I decided I didn't want to do this again. Honestly, look, Thunderdome era was not necessarily the peak of the WWE. I appreciate them trying their best, but I caught a couple episodes and I was like, I'm good. I mean, I tell you, man, something just didn't feel right. But I also couldn't stay away. Something just kept pulling me back. Like I said, I'm still seeing the news. I'm still hearing everything. And, you know, I don't necessarily know everything that's going on. because I know who the man is. I know about Becky Lynch. I know about Ronda Rousey. I'm not actually watching the masses, but I'm hearing their names. I'm hearing people, tell their tales with a reverent glow. I'm still not watching, but it feels like I'm meeting more fans every year. It seems like the fan base continues to grow. And then came 2022 and I peaked again. I mean, I don't want to go into too many details, but there was some stories going on. I mean, you have the Judgment Day betraying Edge. That I Quit match was iconic. And they really cemented themselves as some solid villains. Dominic betraying his dad to join the Judgment Day. I was thrilled, and I was really, really drawn in. I still rarely ever watch SmackDown, mostly just because most Friday nights I was at work. But for basically after the Royal Rumble, I basically never missed an episode of Raw. And then by the time we got to WrestleMania, I'm all in. I'm all in. There was one specific match, Dominic versus Ray, that I was most looking forward to, because I wanted to see Dominic get the living shit beat out of him. But I watched every single match and I loved all of it, especially because, hey, like I said, I was watching Raw because Lita is back, Trish is back, the man, Becky Lynch. I finally get to see why everyone loves her so much. And just beating up on Damage Control. It was a fun time. There was a cage involved at one point. There was just a lot of entertainment value. But I will have to say, my first impression of Bayley was not a favorable one. I like her now. I have grown to appreciate her as a talented performer. But, literally, one of the first memories I have of her in my head is she's supposed to be the villain. And Becky's supposed to be the good guy. But the good guy's coming out and is like, hey, if you don't fight me, I'm going to break your friend's leg. And the villain's like, no, don't hurt my friend,
What's it gonna be? Hey, shush. The man is talking, be quiet. What's it gonna be, Bailey?
I watched WrestleMania not knowing who this skinny little blonde white boy was. But the second the match ended, I found myself screaming at the TV, fuck you, Roman, you don't deserve that title. Long story short, for the past 12 months of my life, possibly a little longer, I don't remember when it first started, but it's been more than 12 months by now because it started at 39. And then, I didn't watch every single episode immediately after that, but I was watching more and more to the point that by this point in time, a year and a half later, I know almost every single person on the roster. I'm not as well versed in all the NXT newbies, because there's some people that, the ones who have been around for a while, the ones who have held titles, I'm starting to learn a lot of these names. Still don't know every single person on the roster. I gotta be honest, this might be the only video I ever put on this channel that even references wrestling. But I did want to talk about it because I do love it. And wrestling has become such a global phenomenon, and the WWE has become one of the more recognized brands in just the entire sports entertainment industry. That's it for this video. That's probably the only time I'm going to talk about wrestling. I am not going to sit here and review every episode of Raw and SmackDown. There's already plenty of channels that do that. I don't feel like my input is needed. But I'm going to be watching these episodes and I'm going to be enjoying them. And I'm going to have opinions. But, you know what? You tell me your opinions. Leave comments down below. I'm sure half of you already have, telling me that I'm wrong. But you know what? I don't care. My favorite wrestler, it always is and always will be, and you haters aren't gonna like this.
Yeah, if the pressure for Stephanie Becker wasn't already enough, she will have the eyes of the TBS champion.
Well, that's it for this video. Until the next time you see my face, my name is Nathan Lyle. Hope you have a great day, week, month, year, however long it is. Bye. Actually, wait. You guys mind if I practice my promo skills on you? Dominic Mysterio, you piece of shit. You'd better hope that I never get my hands on you. Because the day we come face to face is the day your life ends. Dominic, if you and I are ever in the same room, I'm gonna bite your ass. And that's not a metaphor. In fact, it's not even a slight exaggeration. I'm gonna bend down on both knees. I will sink my teeth into your buttocks. And I will rip a pound of flesh from your bones. I will bite your motherfucking ass. Ah!
You smoked all of it, didn't you?